So on this installment of BS Garage, we install some GNX fender flares on the Malibu to give it a much wider and lower stance. Let's go. So, I guess I don't really know how to get from what you just saw to where I'm at now, because you get what I'm saying. What I have here are GNX fender flares, and I know that I want them to go on here because I want it to be wider and I want it to be lower. And when I put them on here, I'll be able to kind of put my wheel well where I want it to. So I can lower the car, the front, a good inch yet with the coilover system that I have on it. But obviously, you know, this just doesn't fit in here. Are the Harleys gone now? Okay, good. I know I want this style line to match up here. I might actually chop this section off down so it lines up with both style lines to go down. It's very intimidating to get started with, honestly, because I mean, I gotta cut all this out. I mean, all this back structure here is gone already because I rolled these fenders out, and the paint's already kind of chipping off and stuff like that from when I tried to roll it because it's an older paint job. It's kind of the reason why I'm going this route is because, well, A, it's more aggressive, and B, it just kind of covers up my screw up right here. Okay, so my first step, obviously we're not gonna attach it the way it's meant to be attached, which is just like screws inside there, because these were never meant to be on wheels that are tucked out to the edge. You know, there's no clearance underneath here. So I gotta figure out where I wanna cut here and take this section out, so it'll kind of give me a guide of where I want top to bottom, and then I'll mount it up that way, and then I'll know how much sheet metal to cut off. Right? Sure. I don't know. We're figuring this out together now. So yeah, let's get started with that. Let's chop this section out. With that bottom section cut out, it allowed me to go up with it in order to fit it flush against the fender at the high point that I want. So basically that's kind of where it's going to sit, and then I'll lower the car enough so the tires level with this instead of being level with this. So as you can see, that'll give me another inch or so low. And obviously I got to make the tire stick out more to be flush with it. Right now obviously it's not, and I mean there is a little bit of a gap here, but this plastic is flexible enough that I think I can make it up when I screw it to the body. But with this tape here, I'm going to mark out kind of where the fender is so I know how much to chop out. But I need to take some of that fender metal and kind of like bend it up in order to fit the angle that this fender is, so I have something to kind of bolt to. Because I think that's really the only way I can mount these things now in order to make sure that they stay stable. Obviously, I'll put some kind of like a rubber gasket in between the bolt and the body there. I just am a little worried that I'm going to screw up the paint when I try to like bend that up enough. But, I mean, it's a risk I'm going to have to take. I think I want to cut it here because you can see, you see? Yeah, there you go. So there's a style line here, right? I don't want this section here. I want this gone. I just want it to be a hard line cut off here so that it's just like, boom, tire, you know, when you're looking at it from the back side. Same thing with the front. I think I want to chop it right at this style line here so that it's just hard end. So if I do decide to like add a splitter here, it'll be level with that. So it all kinds of looks open, but it's not. The blue will still show. That's kind of my thought process on that. Yeah. I guess, shit. Now I got to cut the car up. That's going to suck. That's a part I don't really want to do. But, I mean, yeah, all right. Anxiety, having an anxiety attack. But let's mark it out and kind of think about cutting the car up. All right, pep talk. You can do this. This is gonna look good, this is gonna be fine. This is fine, they make other fenders. You already got a hole in it, this is fine. We can do this, you can do this. I'm sorry, Carl, I'm so sorry right now. This is gonna look good, this is better. Right? Am I right? I'm so nervous right now. Cut it up, just cut it up, fine. It's not a classic, it's a shitbox. Some kind of structure for this to bolt to the fender, but because the fender kind of goes straight down and this is at an angle, it's kind of hard to do. So I need to kind of, maybe I can roll this out to match the contour of this, so this just kind of rests on top of here, so I can at least get like 1, 2, 3 bolts in there, and then 4, 5, and then also 1 and 1. Is kind of what I'm thinking. I also need to decide if I want to chop that section off. I think I do, because I don't like there's a gap back here that I don't like. And I think if I cut it here, that'll get rid of that. And I'll be able to fit it flush, and then I'll line up right with the body line. And then I'll know exactly where I need to work off of in each one. Because of the gap, because obviously these were not meant for this car. Okay. Let's see if we can't bend this out, roll this out. Fit. Bet you we could bend it. Let's try that. Let me try to roll it. I don't know. All right, so I'm still on the fence about cutting this off, but I know I definitely need to tighten this gap up, and I don't want to rely on just screws to pull this tight, because it'll still have a wonky end on it. So I did a little experimenting on the section that I already cut out from underneath here, and I heated it up. And there's a fine line between too much heat and just enough heat. You can watch it kind of change sheen, and then you'll know it's good to like kind of bend. But if you heat it up too much, it starts to bubble a little bit. So you kind of want it in that sweet spot. And then I just basically took a socket here and I pushed on it, and that will take the heat back out of it and then also form it to whatever you want to form it. So you could literally use whatever you want or whatever you have lying around in order to get that contour to match up. So yeah, you can see it's just nice and curved now. It's that way forever until I heat it up and do something else with it. So I think that's how I'm going to tackle the contour on there, is just kind of heat that up, push that in. Hopefully I don't heat it up too much and get some kind of weird texture on there, but I'm gonna give that a shot right now. Actually worked out quite nicely. So now you can see it's got this jog in here and it fits up against the body nice and tight. And then once we put, because I plan on running like a gasket here or whatever they use, that felt, not the felt, but the rubber, you know what I'm saying? You know, that stuff that goes there on here. So that would definitely take up whatever gap is left over, but there really isn't one now. So I think I'm gonna put a screw, at least a cleco for now, like right there on the back side. And I gotta figure out what I wanna do here. I kinda wanna do like a Rocket Bunny style. Maybe like cut it down and then push that in. I don't know. Again, we're making this up as we go. Just kind of seeing what I like. Front side actually did the same thing. You can see it's got a nice contour to it. When I heated this one up, I just basically took the socket and I kind of rolled it lightly, like light pressure, and it like just kind of contoured out until you start taking the heat out, and then it will hold that shape. So it's nice and flush. If I take this cleco out, it won't like bow out or anything like that. It's just, it's nice and fitting to the body. And I'm kind of, like I said, I'm debating on cutting this. I think I'm gonna cut it. Just nick that off right there and maybe heat this section up right here where the style line is and just kind of roll that in and under to kind of give it a little bit more dimension instead of it just being like a hard cutoff line. And then kind of just push it to the body underneath this line here. So this is the other side, pretty much what we started out with. Huge lip, all that goodness. And this is what we ended up with. So you can see where I heated it up to kind of contour to fit the body much better. No more inner lip, all the tire clearance. So now I'm just gonna basically attach that one and then take my measurements and then tackle the other side, because now we have a solid game plan of, hey, this is what it's gotta look like. We just gotta mirror it. Now that we got both sides mounted up, I need to replace the clecos with some more permanent hardware. What I'm gonna use for that is I got some stainless 1/4-20 nutserts, stainless bolts, and then I'm using these washers, which are stainless on the front side, but on the back side, they have like a nice rubber cushion. So that should help with, well, just not hurting the flare when you bolt it down, especially when I have them painted. So now, yeah, just gotta insert a bunch of these into that fender. All right, got the hardware all on. That's looking real nice. Next thing I want to do is adjust the front end. I want to bring the coilovers down or up. Is that how that works? Anyway, bring the wheel up so the car comes down. That's what I'm going to try to do. Just have to adjust them. That's the beauty of coilovers. And then I want to shove the tire out a little bit more. These already have wheel adapters on them because these are like a 5-on-120 wheel with, you know, Malibus are 5-on 4 3/4. So you need to have that adjustment there. Plus these wheels were never meant to go in this car, obviously. So I got a little bit thicker ones over there. And before you give me crap, those are 6061 billet aircraft T6 aluminum. They're expensive is what I'm trying to say. So they should hold up just fine. And I am running all ARP hardware on the wheel hubs themselves. So I shouldn't have to worry about them shearing off or breaking off or putting my life in danger. I trust it, it's fine. One thing though, once I put those on and shove this out, it's gonna make my tire go further one way or the other when I turn it. So I gotta check for clearance there, especially when it's lowered. But we'll come to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But for now, I wanna lower it and shove this out. So I've been at this for a couple of hours trying to get the front end all dialed in. Ride height is set. So the top of the tire meets just the bottom of the flare there, and I'm playing with camber adjustment in order to get it as square as possible. And the way I'm doing that is I got a straight edge here cut to size to fit the lip. Then I zero it out with my digital angle finder. And then that gives me a reference in space to come up to the front and put it on there. And we're at 0.2. So I got 0.2 degrees negative camber. And that's exactly what I want, is a little bit in, but nothing crazy, because this is a street car mostly. It has that nice bulldog stance to it now. This is turning out pretty freaking sweet. I still have the toe to do. Once I got that knocked out, then I don't have to worry about front suspension anymore. I'll go through and make sure everything's tightened up. Other than that, that should be a wrap on the front suspension. I think I'm gonna end it right here, because otherwise this video is gonna be way too long. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, because next up we're gonna do the rear end, so you can see how I tackle this whole thing as one. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the way that this came out. I mean, this has a much lower, more aggressive stance, and I couldn't be more pleased. It definitely is going for what I was going for. Does that make sense? Sure. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you on the next one.